What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Crucible. My name is Nick, and today we are going to be taking a look at the 4 decks from Round the Table. That's right, we're going to be taking a look at Professor Teklowasin, Melody Singalong, Bravant Civic Protector, and Ira Crimson Haze to upgrade their existing decks. For this video, we are going to be taking a look at that very first hero people might have been introduced to when they found this game with Ira. Now, some ground rules for all of these videos. The deck's core strategy must remain the same while bumping up their power level. For Ira's case, for this video, her pack of Crouching Tigers are here to slice the competition in 1,000 cuts. That does not change. We're still going to be doing Crouching Tiger things. The upgrades cannot be a total of $10 to $15 per deck. We want to be doing some upgrades, but we don't want to be breaking the bank. That's right. So no over-the-top legendaries. We still want to keep the deck's consistency up there, but also have a budget that is friendly and approachable to new players that could be introduced to the game through the Round the Table product and the UPF format. The decks must also include a sideboard to give them a fighting chance against more varied strategies. You will be sitting down at the table at your local UPF events. You want to have some amount of tools to find the competition. So let's get started. Alright, we have Ira and her suite of equipment. First of all, we want to define what these do. Ira herself wants to be doing multiple attacks per turn, and as we will see later on with the Crouching Tiger strategy, that usually involves attacking maybe with Edge of Autumn into buffing up your second attack and proceeding with the combat chain that way, or using this ability to give Crouching Tigers 1 point of attack to make them be a threatening card rather than have just that 0. So, what does her suite of equipment do? We've talked briefly about Edge of Autumn. It's a way to guarantee having a first attack in the combat chain with that annoying 1 attack value for a single resource with that guaranteed go again. Then we have her mask that does a good impression of more expensive cards like the Mask of Momentum, allowing you to at instant speed destroy this and draw a card, but only if you've hit 3 or more times this combat chain. This does not have any block value but can lead to some big turns. Blood Scent has a battle worn of 1, can destroy this to gain an action point, only if we've attacked with a Crouching Tiger this turn, so effectively we block and then gain our resource value for bigger turns. Tearing Shuko again has a battle worn of 1, and we can destroy this to give the next Crouching Tiger +2, so this piece of equipment can give us 3 points of value, 1 from the blocking, and then that +2. And finally, Pouncing Paws, another battle worn 1 piece that can be destroyed to create a Crouching Tiger in your banished zone that we can play this turn. So, what are we upgrading? The first thing we are changing is that weapon. Ninjas have much better weapons in the form of the harmonized Kadachis. These things are effectively the same thing as Edge of Autumn, with the main difference being that you can have not 1 but 2 of them because they're one-handed weapons. The little deck building requirement that you need to keep in mind is that you need to have cards with cost 0 in our pitch zone to give these go again. So this will also inform some choices we've made later on in deck building. The next change is that we are taking out Pouncing Paws because although that Crouching Tiger in Banished Zone and the Battle Worn is very good, we want a bit more consistency with our attacks. That is why we're running Snapdragon Scalers. This lets us become even wider through the turn and the loss of Battle Worn is not as relevant, especially because the effect of creating that Crouching Tiger is circumvented by the inclusion of several other powerful cards for the Crouching Tiger strategy. First of all, let's take a look at Ira's Crouching Tiger plan. These are all the cards that Ira has access to create and utilize Crouching Tigers in her turn. The first things that we can take a look at are the 2 blue and 2 yellow predatory streaks. If we take a look at one of them, these are cards that cost 0, block for 2, and allow us to create some Crouching Tigers in our Banish Zone that we may play this turn. Obviously, this also has Go Again. The blue creates 1, yellow creates 2. Next, we have Blessing of Ki, or Chi. I think it's Chi, probably. These are auras that we can play for 1 resource. They block for 3, and they don't have Go Again, so they would end our turn after we play them. But at the start of our turn, we destroy these cards, create a Crouching Tiger in our Banish Zone, and it gets +3 until end of turn, and we can play it until end of turn. The red gives the +3, and the couple of blue ones that we have give +1. These decks in the Round the Table product do not contain any defense reactions, but they have the newly created block card type, and Ira's is Tiger Eye Reflex, one of the better ones in my opinion. So we have a couple of blue and a couple of yellow ones. These block for 3 with the ambush keyword, allowing us to block with these cards from our arsenal. Other block cards do not have the ambush keyword, and it's quite strong, I think. And Tiger Eye Reflex specifically says that when this defends, we get to create a Crouching Tiger in our Banish Zone that we may play during our next turn. So Tiger Eye Reflex also creating some Crouching Tigers. The final card that creates Crouching Tigers is Flex Claws, costing 1, blocking for 2, and we have 2 yellows, 2 reds. The reds attacking for 4, yellows for 3. And when these hit, we get to create a Crouching Tiger in our Banish Zone that we play this turn, and these have innate Go Again. So these are the cards that get to create the Crouching Tigers. What are our payoffs? These cards over here are some of the specifically Crouching Tiger payoffs, so we have some more going wide type of payoffs. Pouncing Chi is a 0 cost 3 block card with the combo of if a Crouching Tiger was the last attack this combat chain, this gets +1, and Go Again with an attack value of 3. We have 2 of these. Next, we have a new card for the Round the Table product. We have Growl, which is a 0 cost 2 block 3 attack for the red, that when this attacks the next Crouching Tiger you play this combat chain, gets +1, with this having innate Go Again as well. We have a couple of reds and a couple of yellows. So these are sort of the middle of the combat chain cards. Here we have our combat chain enders. Ki Unbound, which funnily enough, this is a misprint. It should be Ki Unleashed, is a 2 cost 3 block 3 attack red with combo with if Crouching Tiger was the last attack this combat chain, this also gets +4. So this could be a 2 resource 7. So this is quite a good combat chain enter. And the new card from the Round the Table product with Mauling Chi, a 1 cost red majestic 3 block, attacks for 5, and the combo for this is that when this hits, if Crouching Tiger was the last attack this combat chain, we deal 1 damage to each opposing hero. So this is more of that multiplayer ability that gets to deal damage to multiple people. If you have 3 opponents, for example, this could be a 1 resource 8 attack. So quite powerful. So these are our cards for the engine of these tigers coming in left and right, trying to create these long combat chains that are very annoying for the opponent. Also keep in mind that the combat chain does break whenever you switch targets in a UPF game. So with Ira, you will typically want to be keeping that combat chain open because you have a lot of effects that care about how long that combat chain is. They care about what the previous attack on the combat chain was. So you will typically be focusing on one player at a time. So are any of these cards coming out to support a better strategy? So first of all, we are taking out these Blessings of Chi. The reason being, these are blues with quite low upside and they cost 1. This is not very good for our plan with the harmonized Kodachis. So these are coming out for some much better blues. Additionally, we are taking out Flex Claws. The reason we're taking out Flex Claws is because these are cards that we want to hit, and them not coming in for a break point is quite painful. We can sequence them as a second attack to get that buff from Ira, but we can be doing some much more powerful stuff to facilitate this plan without having to jump through as many hoops. So these also come out. The rest of this package remains as is because these are quite good cards. They facilitate the plan that we want to be running. So what do we add to this package? First of all, we need to add some better things that create more Crouching Tigers. That is why we're going to be running Predatory Streak Reds, completing that suite of rainbow Predatory Streaks. These get to create 3 Crouching Tigers in our Banished Zone. Granted, this deck does not facilitate multiple Crouching Tigers in a turn, maybe 1, maybe 2, but usually it does not facilitate much more than that because we lack cards like Art of War to really be buffing everything consistently. We are going to be seeing how that is remedied. For the place of Blessing of Chi, we have added 2 Mind State of Tiger. These cards are effectively a similar card with being a blue 0 cost that works with our Kodachis, blocks for 3, and at the start of our turn we can destroy this if we play it to create a Crouching Tiger in our hand. So we have our 2 Mind State of Tiger taking up this position of creating some more Crouching Tigers. Now, since we're going to be going quite wide, we need a way to be buffing up these Crouching Tigers. That is why we're going to be including Roar of the Tiger as an additional way of creating Crouching Tigers and also giving them a major buff. Roar of the Tiger costs 0, blocks 3, and is a yellow that creates a Crouching Tiger in our hand and gives Crouching Tigers we control +1 this turn. This is very powerful for those turns that we have many Crouching Tigers on that combat chain. So this gets added as another way of both creating and buffing our Crouching Tigers. In a similar vein, Head Leads to Tails does not directly reference Crouching Tigers, but what it does do is that it allows us to name a card and add attack action cards with that name have +1 this combat chain, with this being also an attack for 3 with Go Again. So when we play this, usually we're going to name Crouching Tiger and give all of our Crouching Tigers +1, making this another effect similar to Roar of the Tiger, making those wide, big turns with Crouching Tigers even more impactful and consistent. Next, we have another role player in the blue Pouncing Cheese. We are already running the reds. These are especially good for our deck because they also have that 0 cost value, allowing us to use these effectively for Kodachis if we need to. So we also add these to our deck. And finally, for specifically the Crouching Tiger plan, we have the big payoff in Tiger Swipe, a 0 cost 3 block 2 attack with combo that says if Crouching Tiger was the last attack this combat chain, this has +2 attack, go again, and when this hits, we create X Crouching Tigers in our banish zone, where X is the number of Crouching Tigers you control, and we may play them this turn. So, what we've effectively done is that we have created many ways of creating multiple Crouching Tigers with both our predatory streaks, Roar of the Tiger, Mind State. We might have blocked in our opponent's turn with a Tiger Eye Reflex. Maybe we have a Flex Clause, maybe a Blessing of Chi popping off this turn, and we go very wide. That means that we needed to have taken quite some punishment in the previous turn to pop this off, but if we can make sure that a Tiger Swipe connects, this is going to make for the turn be a massive blowout. So these are the cards that directly reference Crouching Tigers and work with that plan to make it all come together. And we're going to be taking a look at the rest of the deck that sort of is the glue that keeps everything together and functions to turn to turn to help set up these big turns that will not just be happening out of the blue. You do need to save some cards in arsenal and plan ahead a little bit. So let's take a look at that. So here are the last cards that we have in the pre-constructed Ira deck from Round the Table. We have a couple of leg taps, 1 cost attacks for 4 or for 3 when it comes to the yellow, with an 8 go again in a value of 2 for their block. We also have Bittering Thorns, which the red one is new for this product, with it costing 1, blocking for 2, attacking for 4 with an 8 go again, and when this hits our next attack this turn gets +1. So again, that nice break point. Here we have some more combat chain enders that don't have anything to do with the Crouching Tiger plan. First of all, Salt the Wound is a yellow 3 block that gets +1 for each attack that has hit this combat chain. It costs 0 and comes in for a base of 2. So if we hit with, say, 3 other attacks prior to this one, this would be a 0 for 5. So very good right there. Then we also have our Flying Kicks. These cost 2. And if they're played as chain length 3 or higher, they get +2. The red one coming in for 5 with potentially 7, and the blue one coming in for 3, potentially 5. Also blocking 3. So, what do we not like from these cards? First of all, the leg taps usually exist to facilitate some other combo lines for ninjas. These don't exist in the Ira deck, so my assumption is that these are here as sort of a combat chain starter, as a card that you can play first. It has an 8 go again, and it will let you carry on with your turn. I do not like these in the deck. I think there's much better things for us to be doing, so all of these leg taps can come out. Then, Bittering Thorns. Bittering Thorns yellow has existed in the original Ira deck, but the fact that this costs 1, comes only for 3, and needs to connect to buff our next attack makes me not very excited to play this. It doesn't work terribly well with the Crouching Tiger plan because it does want you to start with this, have it connect to buff that next attack. Obviously, you can run it as a second attack on the combat chain, buffing it with Ira to get it over that 3 point value to get to that 4 break point. So it's a bit too many hoops for my liking to be consistent in the deck. So we're also cutting that those Bittering Thorns. And next, Flying Kick as a combat chain ender is not great because it is a 2 cost, it doesn't work with our Snapdragon Scalers, and we have much better combat chain enders in that slot for Crouching Tigers with that Tiger Swipe and the even better combat chain ender with Salt the Wound that we're going to be explaining soon enough. So these can come out as well. So what do we add for these removals? First of all, we've added a lot of cards previously with our Tigers. We've taken out a lot more than we've added in. So right here, we only have a couple of things to add, and those are a couple of blue Flick Flacks. Why do we add these? These are some nice defense reactions that can give us quite a lot of value. First of all, they are blue with a 0 cost, working very well with our Kodachi plan. The fact that they are defense reactions allows them to be played after blocks are declared, so you can see sort of what's happening. And the fact that they block for 2 and then potentially give +2 to our future attacks, future blocking cards, potentially gives us a total blocking value out of 2 cards of 7. So this is quite good. Also, we've really upped the number of combo cards in the deck to help make sure that Flick Flack does work when we need it to. So these are the changes. So why do I focus so much on Salt the Wound? First of all, this is a card that we can use Snapdragon Scalers for. As we've said, we want to be making very, very wide combat chains with multiple Crouching Tigers, and being able to set up turns that go quite wide with those Crouching Tigers having hit, playing a Salt the Wound, using Snapdragon Scalers to play a second Salt the Wound, or some other combat chain ender, is going to be a super massive turn that pushes things over the top. The Red Bittering Thorns obviously does stay because it is coming in at a break point, so it's quite a good combat chain starter, so we're not mad to have it. First of all, the sideboard. This is it. That's what the decks come with. Suddenly there is no sideboard in these decks. I wish there was, but this lets us build our own. What I wanted with these sideboards is to allow players to see what the opponents are running and make slight adjustments. Obviously, we don't have that many slots for our sideboard, so let's take a look at what I've put in here. So first of all, we have those Pouncing Paws. These come in for those times where you feel you need that blocking value a little bit more, so that Battle-Worn 1 does help with that. Another piece of equipment that we're running is Tide Flippers, again in that leg slot. This is coming in for that Arcane Barrier to help against the Rune Blades and a little bit against the Wizards. Running only 1 AB is not the greatest against Wizards, but it can be quite good for the Rune Blades. And as a reaction, we also get to do the thing that Snapdragons lets us do, specifically with Salt the Wound in this deck. Next, we have a couple of cards that help us push over the top. We're running a couple of Razor Reflex because of that surprise factor. If we have opponents that seem to be quite defensive and not very aggressive, we might want to be running Razor Reflex to help push over the top, surprising them with some on-hits that they might not have expected, especially if we're relying on our Tiger Swipe coming in and connecting to get those extra Crouching Tigers. Finally, we have a one of Sink Below. This can really help with Go Tall decks, the Bravos, the Azaleas, Warriors of the world, and tends to come in when the Pouncing Paws comes in for that just little bit extra defensive capabilities, because especially with the fact that we are running the Kodachi plan, Ira is very good at exploiting it, especially since that second attack can be buffed on her Kodachis. So you can have these endgame states that are quite beneficial to Ira, poking in for 1 and then 2 off of a single card hand, allowing her to use the rest of it to block efficiently with stuff like Sink Below and the Flick Flacks that we've seen before. So yeah, that is our total deck for Ira, Crimson, Haze. Overall, the deck comes in at 20 reds, 10 yellows, and 10 blues, giving us some consistent pitching and also consistent damage, buffing those Crouching Tigers as often as we can and making those super long combat chains. I hope you guys found this deck profile and this deck upgrade rather for Ira's deck from Round the Table helpful. The deck link is going to be down in the description below. Feel free to use it, have some fun, let me know what you think of it, and more just like this one are going to be coming very, very soon for the rest of the heroes. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye-bye.